Guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and I'm here today with another exciting edition of Ask an Aquarius. So if you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about something. Someone said to me the other day that they did not understand how the Aquarius can walk away from the things that we walk away from. Now, I think that one of the things I want to say up front is that you have to see when it's time to move on. Meatloaf has this famous song, and at the end he says, and then you see that it's time to move on. The Aquarius embodies that statement, I swear. We know when it's time to move on. And a lot of other zodiac signs know, but don't do it. Or don't know. They just don't figure out that it's time to move on. And this is the thing, is that when something is bad for you, when something is uncomfortable to you, when something is emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually harmful to you, you owe it to yourself to move on. Now, I'm not saying that's going to change. I had told you guys the other day that I was looking at that and I wanted to change it. But I'm not saying that that part is going to change. I'm never going to say that. What I'm saying is that I'm going to start telling people, like, if I have to walk away, I'm going to tell them I'm walking away and tell them why, instead of just leaving. That's the only thing that I'm saying is going to change. Because when something is unhealthy for you, you need to walk away from it. And I don't think that that's going to change in my life. I don't think I'm never going to meet another unhealthy situation I have to walk away from. I'm sure I will. I'm sure it'll happen for the rest of my life. I'm sure many of you have experienced this or are experiencing it right now, or going to experience it later, So I'm not going to come up here and say, oh, I'm never going to walk away from another person. Because the Aquarius is very aware that sometimes that needs to happen. And everybody is not, Some people will hold on to a sinking ship in the name of longevity. Like somebody said to me, how can you walk away from a 10-year career with one foot in front of the other? I walked away from a 10-year career. I walked away from literally a 10-year career. I think it was like 9.5 years. I walked away from relationships. I walked away from my country. If something is not right for me, if something is damaging to me, I'm out. Deuces, I'm leaving. And I'm not going to stay because, oh, I've been making this mistake for this long. I've been with this person for 14 years. I've been at this job for 20 years. I've been in the States for 41 years. How can I leave? Well, one foot in front of the other. When something is detrimental to me, and a lot of Aquarius agree with me who've been writing me, we leave. We are out, and we're not going to be made to feel bad because we left a situation that wasn't for us. That's actually the healthy, smart thing to do. The place where we make our mistake, Aquarius, is simply because we don't say anything. And I don't think that, I think that's a mistake. I really do. And I know it's a mistake for myself. And I also know you can't always say something. Like, for example, if you're in an abusive relationship, you can't always tell homeboy or homegirl deuces. They might kill you before you get to the door. I understand sometimes you have to escape. But I think that in most situations, we can say something. We can send a text message. We can send an email. We can say something. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying change the behavior. I'm not saying any of that. Because I guarantee you there will be more times when you have to walk away. But just say something. Even if it's a text. Some people will be like, oh, it's so insensitive to send a text. It's so insensitive to send an email. My ex used to always say, you can't tell me in person how you think, what you feel. That's manipulation a lot of times anyway. So they can get you in person and change your mind. But you can say something. You can send a text. You can send an email. Maybe they'll think it's insensitive, but at least you said something. You're going to be criticized anyway. If you walk away from somebody, they're going to criticize you. If they're not willing or ready for the relationship to end, they're going to criticize you. However, that's fine. Let them do whatever they got to do. But you did your part when you at least just say, this isn't working for me. This is why I'm out. Even if it is a text. Because for me, it probably will be. It probably will be an inbox, you know. I'm not going to go through a tear-filled back and forth with you. We're not doing that. Not on my watch. But I will say something. Because I think that I really think that's important. And the only reason why I say that is because I don't want people 20 years later, like, why did this person leave? You know? Now, the reasons why Aquarius leave, people also tend to think that we just leave because we're bored or we're crazy or, you know, something like that. But that's not true. Aquarius, if they leave something or someone, it is a deep, deep, deep thing. We are feeling something that is strangling us. Seriously. When I left the school district, it wasn't because I just didn't want to do it no more and I was bored. I left because I was crying in the parking lot every morning before work. And begging God is not to make me go back inside. Literally. Like a 4-year-old. I was like, God, please don't make me go in there. I was begging and crying and having to calm myself down by listening to this really cool Buddhist monk who talked about compassion and breathing and that kind of thing. But every day I had to give myself this pep talk because I was working at this awful place with these awful people. Not all of them were awful. Some of them were cool. I remember one lady was really cool. Some of them were really cool, but the ones that could make it awful made it as awful as they possibly could. Put it like that. And I couldn't stand it. So the second half of the year, I went to a different school. Better energy, but different set of problems. And I realized that the second school, I'm not doing this no more. And everybody was like, you know, what are you going to do? Oh my God, that's such a big gamble. You know, the people that I was friendly with. And I was like, it's a bigger gamble for me to sit here while this is strangling me than it would be for me to leave and figure out a new career, profession, job, something. At that point, I was willing to go wait tables. I was willing to go bartend. I was willing to just go do anything else other than what I was doing. I could not take it anymore. They wanted me to take a class or something like that, and they kept bugging me about taking this class, bugging me, and I just didn't take the class. And finally, they were like, look, if you don't take this class, you're done. That's it. And I retired. Deuces. You know? And people like, how do you walk away from a 10-year career? With one foot in front of the other. If you're unhappy to the point where it's strangling you, you need to move on. If it's a person, if it's a career, if it's whatever, you need to move on. And this is true of people as well. If you're around people that you love even, and they're strangling you, you have to decide, do you love you or them more? So a lot of times people will think like, oh, the Aquarius is so crazy. They just leave for no reason. It's always a reason. You just don't know what it is. Then somebody said to me the other day, okay, so this is another situation. Now this one is equally difficult, but it's a little bit different. I told you guys before that Aquarius is a flight risk, and we're the main flight risk in the very beginning, right? Well, a gentleman said to me that he really liked a girl, Aquarius girl. And they were talking, they were being friends. She was showing interest, you know, beautiful, beautiful energy. And all of a sudden, after a couple conversations, she just stopped talking to him. So as soon as he said that, I knew immediately he said or did something that turned her off. So I said that to him, and he came back to me later and told me that I was right. Apparently, he had mentioned not having enough money for something, and she was turned off by this. Now, you may ask yourself, why would she be turned off about him not having enough money? Because this is somebody who is escaping poverty. Okay? And she knows that she does not want to be in that situation ever again. So she doesn't want to be with a partner whose money is messed up. You see? She looking for a partner who's secure, at least as secure as she is. And her comment to him was, you don't have any kids. You're an older guy. You don't have a fancy car. So why don't you have a better financial situation? It's basically what she was wondering. And this is all because, like I said, a deep reason, because she grew up in poverty. So she like, look, I'm not doing this again. So if anybody I'm dating, they need to have A1 credit, and they need to have money saved in the bank, and they need to be able to deal with little emergencies. And I can understand that. If you grow up with the phone getting turned off every month, if you grow up not knowing if the water or the electricity is going to be on that day, if you grow up with not enough to eat, you know, some people, they grow up like that because we all develop different coping mechanisms. But some of us is just like, F that. I'm never going through this again. And they set their sights on making sure that they make enough money, because she had a good job. So she made sure that she made enough money, and anybody she dated was going to make good enough money and be responsible financially. So when he said to her he didn't have money to fix something that was like important, she was like, it was his car. He didn't have money to fix his car. So when he said he didn't have money to fix his car, she's like, wait a minute, you ain't got no kids. You ain't got no savings. You ain't got money to fix your car? Like, all that automatically probably reminded her father and the poverty that she grew up in, and him not having money for things that the family needed. So she stopped talking to the guy, you know? And my thing is that I feel like I understood both sides of it. On his side, he didn't feel like it was fair. I understood that. On the other side, I understand her. But the bottom line is that this is something very traumatic that she went through, that she has deeply embedded inside of her, that she's not going to face in her life. So it may look like to another person that she just skipped off, but this is really serious to her. You know? So some things that happen, they may seem small to you, but to the Aquarius, it's an indicator of a larger problem. I always tell people in the very beginning, I peep warning signs very easily. And certain things are reflective of certain things. Most people in the beginning ignore these things. And they're just like, oh, I'm overreacting. The Aquarius doesn't typically do that. We see things, we back off. You know? So I wanted you guys to know, anybody who's ever experienced this with an Aquarius, anybody who's ever like, because I have a lot of people who write me and say, you know, the Aquarius stopped talking to me, they ghosted on me. I hear this all the time. And I'm telling you, it's usually something that they did not like that happened, you know? And also remember that the Aquarius, depending upon what's going on with them, may have something else going on too. A lot of Aquarius are very secretive and mysterious about what's going on in their life. So it might not have been something you did. It might be something that's going on with them. Okay? But typically, if things are going very well and they just flake out, that's usually what it is. It's some kind of emotional trigger has been hit. And for me, I would never try to chase an Aquarius. I wouldn't wait for him either. I would just move on. Some of the people that I know who are with an Aquarius in a relationship, they tell me that they just waited for them. They dated them. They waited for them. They ran away. They came back. They ran away. They came back. And they just stood in the gap. I'm not that patient. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was with an Aquarius and she ran away, the first time she ran away, she'd never see me again. Because that's one of my warning signs. You know, that's one of the things that I experienced that in several different situations with women. And now, if that happens, if a woman comes forward and then she scampers off and then come back and scamper off, by the time she come back the first time, I'm done. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Because I've been through that scenario before, and I know what that's about. It's usually some kind of dysfunction, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there with that. The last time it was, because I don't know what was wrong with her. She was going through something with her sexuality that never really was resolved. And I'm not, I don't want that. If I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody, they need to be at least comfortable with their own sexuality at 40 years old. And I'm not saying it's easy, because we all know that it's not. But it's not what I want for my life. And that's the thing about the Aquarius. We know what we want and what's going to work for us and what's not. And sometimes other people feel like it's not fair or like it's not well thought out, but it is. It is. It truly, truly is. I thought about leaving the school district for years before it actually happened. Years. And I wasn't going to leave. I was going to just keep putting up with it, just keep putting up with it and just kind of find a way to deal with it. But I couldn't. It was killing me. And finally, I was just like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. So I wanted you guys to know that the Aquarius does have a good reason for ghosting. And I wanted you guys to know that if you are being ghosted on, it's up to you if you want to hang in there. It's up to you if you want to wait. It's up to you if you want to do that. I don't do that. So that's really up to you, and if you are the Aquarius and you ducking people and ghosted and leaving, look, if they not right and they're not right for you and you're not feeling it, then go ahead and leave. And to be honest with you, leave quickly as possible. Don't drag it on. Don't be with them 20 years and then leave. If you can help it, leave as quickly as possible. And if you can, tell them. Tell them why. Tell them. Be like, look, I care about you, but, whatever it is. If you just started seeing them and you see something you don't like, be like, I really like you, but just tell them. Whatever that but is. Whatever it is. And they might not be happy about it. Most of the time they're not going to be. They might have an attitude about it. They might snap on you. And I personally hate that. I hate that emotional outburst. And yeah, that may happen. But give them just that. Just say it. And if they act a fool, you ain't got to say nothing else. But at least say that part. At least let them know, I'm moving on because. So let me know in the comments, Aquarius, if you think you can do that part. Okay? And if Aquarius has ghosted on you, let me tell you something. If an Aquarius has ghosted on you, if they've left you or detached from you because they feel whatever they feel, don't take that as a reflection on you. Okay? Just because they didn't think you were right for them doesn't mean you're not right for someone else. Just because the Aquarius didn't like whatever doesn't mean that you're not perfect for someone else. Like in the case of the young lady with the money situation, that might not have been important to another person. Another person might not have cared that he didn't have the money to fix the car. Another person might not have cared if he was financially stable. Another person might have been making, 6-7 figures, and that's not a big deal to them. You never know. So just because somebody rejects you doesn't mean that you're not right for anybody. It just means you're not right for that person. A lot of people who've talked to me about being rejected by an Aquarius are very hurt by it. And some of them, like, their self-esteem is in the toilet because of it. And I'm like, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means they didn't think you were right for them. And that's okay. It's okay for both of you. It's okay that they didn't think you were right. And it's okay for you to skip off and get with somebody else. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. I have to point that out to people because some people do internalize it that way. And that's not the case. It just meant that the Aquarius knew you weren't right for them. Probably intuitively. But it doesn't mean you're not right for anybody. You're probably right for somebody else right around the corner. Okay? That's one thing I had to learn about rejection myself. Because I used to think that myself. Like, what's wrong with me? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with you. They're just not right for that person. Everybody is not compatible. Okay? See you guys later.